Good afternoon. We're here with Humboldt County Sheriff's Emergency Operations Center Director Ryan Derby for the May 14th media availability. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Of all the training you've received, were you prepared for what you're experiencing during COVID-19, and how does it differ from an earthquake or another natural disaster?
So all the training that we receive in emergency management is based off of the Incident Command System, or ICS, which is basically a universal response framework for how we respond to and manage emergencies. I'd say that the big difference between COVID-19 and an earthquake or tsunami or a fire is that there's no tangible incident, right? We don't have a point in the county that we're focusing on. It's a county-wide concern, a county-wide risk. So the biggest challenge is not being able to see what the emergency is. We're working off of projections. We're working off of kind of an invisible enemy, recognizing that our risk is everywhere.
Great. Will your day-to-day role at the EOC change at all as more businesses begin to reopen?
I don't think so. My day-to-day role is establishing the priorities and objectives for the EOC and our continued response. And just because businesses are reopening doesn't mean that the emergency is going away. So we're still actively responding to COVID-19, but also stimulating some economic growth in the community.
Have law enforcement and first responders faced any shortage with PPE, and are they able to perform their duties with safety as a priority?
They are. To my knowledge, we haven't seen any PPE shortages in first responder agencies thus far. We're doing routine distributions monthly to first responder agencies and bi-weekly to our medical facilities. And we're currently recommending that to the extent possible, when you aren't having a close high-risk contact, that you're wearing a cloth mask or a facial covering. But for those agencies or individuals that are having high-risk contacts, PPE is available and routinely distributed.
This question, it sounds like you've already answered it, but does Humboldt County have enough PPE for first responders to be able to dispose of their masks with each use, and how is it being distributed? So again, we are distributing PPE once monthly to first responder agencies, police and fire, and bi-weekly to medical facilities. We're fortunate enough to have a pretty large contingent of PPE in the county, but we are recommending that agencies conserve that as much as possible, just because we don't know how long this emergency is going to last. Excellent. What is your biggest concern as we move forward to the accelerated Phase 2 reopening in Humboldt?
I'm concerned that people are going to have the perception that the emergency is over, that COVID-19 is no longer here, and that's not the case. We very much recognize that as businesses begin to reopen, we are going to see an increased case count. Particularly with increased testing happening in the community, we are going to see cases rise. So I'm concerned that people are going to become complacent. They're going to stop wearing their masks. They're not going to adhere to social distancing, and we need to make sure that as we do progress into an expanded Phase 2, that people are still adhering to social distancing and following the current health orders.
How is the EOC currently assisting local businesses who are suffering financially?
So we have an economic development group staffed full-time in our EOC that's connecting businesses to short-term loans. They're tracking the total economic cost as well as the total leverage funds locally to assist local businesses. They've also been playing a critical role in the plan review process for reopening in Phase 2. And we have a business line that's available for people to call and ask questions and get assistance with getting reopened or connected to services.
Excellent. And how long do you anticipate the EOC will be operational?
As long as there is COVID-19 persistent in our county and there's a perceived or actual threat, we will be open and ready to respond.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.